I also, at the end of the day when I'm doing installs, I photograph everything, so that then on the evening I'll have a look at it on my phone and kind of go, oh actually that don't work, right, I need to change that in the morning, right, I'll do that. Because I think again when you can see it in an image, and you've had time to reflect on it, then you can see and go, no, that dress isn't going to work, I'm going to move it tomorrow morning.
Right.
And then I go back and then chat with Richard and we'll go, oh yeah, that will work better, and we'll move it about.
So you're both using you're both using techniques about reframing for reflection, aren't you?
I think you need that chance to reflect back on an exhibition for definite. And there's things now that when I go upstairs, I even think, next time I'll do that differently. And also I think you get a lot of ideas from going around to the museums, the galleries, and seeing how they've done it. And my phone's just full of random pictures from other museums. I bet yours is. Or you found something you like. I have to take that off my phone, otherwise it'll grind to a halt. But on my hard drive I've got thousands. Just because you think of something, you think, oh, I hadn't thought about, or that would work well for this.
I also notice when it's done badly.
I do.
And I think you can learn as much from why don't I like that? Why does that not work for me when you see it somewhere, as you can from, that works really well. In a lot of these things, you shouldn't notice them.
Yeah, true.
You shouldn't notice the stands and the mannequins and the interpretation panels. I mean, we're not normal in terms of that we deliberately go and look for those sort of things. And what is your showcase made out of? And is that a clip leather film? That was expensive. But the average visitor shouldn't really be noticing it, and if they are, is it too intrusive?
What we would consider success to be in relation to this, and just mapping that out and starting to think about what that might mean. And I suppose it's a thing that what I was taught when I was doing project management work was the project management starts by deciding what the success would be rather than what the project is. Because otherwise, when you get to the end, how do you know whether you've done what you wanted to do or not? So, with like I said, with the other museums, we worked slightly differently. It's been more about strategic aims and professional ones. But I think here, because the idea itself is more developed than it was with both of those two. I think thinking about, so what would success look like to you? So, I probably can't spell it. Is it That's right.
Number one, easy to measure visitor numbers.
So in visitors, we might have numbers. Would we also have something like the type or the kind?
I would say the level of engagement.
Feedback and response.
And that can both be in person and online.
Yes, so that's person and online.
But I think also part of it is reaching new audiences. So people who haven't visited before didn't know about this.
So that would be non-visitor. Would that also be specialist visitors as well?
I would say creating new partnerships. So I think that's a combination of people who are makers, people who are interested but maybe have never made themselves.
So potential makers.
I think that's researchers.
And I think that feeding to all of those as well is that we are then seen, that the idea of the hub is that we're seen as the centre, like a centre of excellence for those things really. And that we're known particularly for costume and textile.
So I would say also as well, other museums come to us. We're keen to facilitate loans and have our collection go out to other people.
So that would be museums and maybe curators as well. And what would you see the kind of geographic parameters of that? Is that?
Well, I'd say it's international. I would say
Okay.
if we're doing it as an online community as well as an in-person one, there's nothing to say that potentially this then leads into funding bids where we digitise the collection more, where the collection then can be seen.
To be seen certainly as one of the places nationally to go to.
Yeah.
So national.
Alongside some of the big players
big
like
ones.
the Costume Museum. I think in terms of international, there'll be some restrictions on that because we're still going to primarily be focused on British, I would imagine.
We are, but I think in terms of if we're talking about this being both an online kind of community as well as a community person, then you will have people who will find us through Google searches and want something in particular that we may have. Yeah. And even things like the Gentleman Jack costume, that has international interest. You know, so I think there is the scope and the ambition, and that can then, I would say that all this kind of ties into us back to the collection, which is digitising it more, understanding it more, writing about it more, because that all feeds into people's knowledge of it.
Yes, publication of museum notes and things like that would be...
So just as we're mapping top level at the moment, is there anything around content for the exhibition that in terms of success you would like to think at the end we'll have achieved?
I think at the end I'd like to achieve people to feel inspired. I'd like them to know more about more about making and more about historical fashion.
So knowledge.
I think I'd also like
it's
to
learning, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I also would like to understand more about our curatorial process. So like we were saying, talking about using film, we haven't explored that much before. So again, we'd have new ways of interpreting our collection that we can then communicate, and other curators in our team can learn from it.
There's one clear thing about success is success of this project. And how what we do feeds into that success. And I would say that would be with engaging with other museums and museum services, museum curators, that there's something of the sort of creation of that network, or at least embellishment of that network.
Does that come into here where we've got all the ideas?
Yes, partly.
Maybe. I'm thinking more of specific part. Would you like to get to the end of this exhibition and think we've engaged with an internationally known costume designer, or like not necessarily specific people, but are there?
I think it's about that profile building, raising through working with partners of a certain standing. We're raising our profile both within the museum community, but also within that community of people who are in the know, really.
And we found this in Manchester, that even people who were just tangentially involved have been relatively significantly affected by the project that we did. And even a couple of the technician staff said, we've done stuff here that we wouldn't have done. And you mentioned something about internal.
I think it's about kind of inspiring other, our staff here, and showing people that we can work on exhibitions in different ways.
And at this sort of level.
And at this level. And I think also it's both internal partners, but also regional partners as well.
Your idea of a stakeholder event might be having something here that you invite people to, where they get a paid lunch, and you do a tour of the exhibition.
Something around that where we invite Arts Council, we invite Heritage Lottery Fund, we invite some key funders alongside key people in our region and councillors who don't really understand what we're doing. Sometimes in the planning process you lose sight of the end goal because you get so wrapped up in the middle part of the exhibition. But I think that's a really good one.
I mean, like I said, I use this a lot, and I try to get the students to engage with it, and some really do and some don't. I find it works for particularly students who are kind of visual learners. and some of the students where English isn't their first language. What I would do is, I never see this as a fixed point. This just records the conversation we've just been having. You could do it in a week's time and it would be slightly different. Also, like I said, I might take, the next step for me would be to take each of these as a centre and build, so you've got partners, creative industry, and I'd say, so which creative industries, raise the profile who with.
So each working with the filmmaker.
Yeah.
It's another partnership that will possibly, if we find they're really good and they work really well with us and they've got lots of innovative ideas, then we'll probably use them again.
Yeah. But I think, you know, your thought about the reflection, I think I was just going to say exactly the same. I think the journaling is part of that, and part of the process at Wall in Manchester are copies from mine and Rosie and Miles's journals. And they're interesting because the three of us, they're so different. I mean, Miles's is very dress historic. Rosie's done some fantastic drawings of the material, and mine's like project management, scribble. It's nearly all just like notes and lists and things like that. So again, showing people the differences in approach from the journals. I'd say also thinking about reflection, there'll be the advisory board meeting that we have up here after the opening. So that could be, you know, think about what you might want to get from that. What questions might you want to ask the people who are the other partners, but also the advisory board. And also something that I'm aware, I was only aware afterwards when we opened the exhibition in Manchester. I thought, oh, no one's talked about any kind of debrief. So I think something. I think that might happen in different ways. I think one of those will be maybe individual interviews or individual conversations with Angela that are recorded, but also there might be something between us that's a kind of, like you said, kind of going back and thinking, oh, well, was this the best decision? What else might we have done? But something maybe that we can do between ourselves.